Hello there and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm very excited to share with you an incredible interview I did recently as part of my Zill Heroes series. This interview is with Miryam Yen, who is a fabulous finger cymbal player from China. I have been watching Miriam online for the last couple of years. She's a part of my Zilicious group on Facebook, and the videos that she posts there regularly blow my mind. She is an incredible example of a dancer who has developed a finger cymbal style that is completely and uniquely her own. I have never seen anything like it, and most likely you haven't either. And so today I talked to her exactly about that idea. How did she get into finger cymbals? But even more importantly, how did she develop the style that is now hers? And what could she tell others of us who are looking to develop a unique finger cymbal style? What could she tell us to help us along in that journey? She drops some amazing ideas in this interview, things that I think will really inspire you to think about your zills in a different way, which will encourage you to maybe get out and explore a little bit outside of the box, to worry a little bit less about right and wrong, and to think about your finger cymbals more as an exploration into relationship and personality. So if you are ready to dive in and to learn more, join me right now in welcoming Miryam Yen. Well, thank you so much, Miriam, for being here with me today and for joining me in the middle of the night, your time, which I really appreciate. I have been watching your finger cymbal work on the internet, on in the Zilicious group and on your channels for a couple of years now, and I am always blown away by your creativity and uniqueness. And after watching you all this time, I said, you know what? I need to know this woman. I need to meet her because you are doing really cool stuff with your finger cymbals, and I want everyone to know all about this great stuff that you're doing. So thank you so much for talking with me today.
Thank you for the invitation. I'm so happy to share with you and everyone who is going to watch our videos.
This is wonderful. Well, yeah, it's a really great opportunity for us to. I always say we kind of geek out about the finger cymbals. I love to talk to other people who are really into cymbals because we can kind of get into all of the details and talk about what it is that we love about it. But then I also love to inspire and inform other people. I feel like there's some hesitation sometimes from potential finger cymbal players and dance students, right? People studying Arab dance, people studying belly dance, that they are introduced to the cymbals, and some people are not quite as excited to play them as perhaps you and I are. So I'm hoping by sharing your artistic process and your enthusiasm, we might spur on a new generation of people to pick up the finger cymbals and play with them. So what I'd love to do first, because I actually don't know, this is like the first time we've really gotten to speak personally. I want to know, how did you get into finger cymbals, and how does it tie in with your dance practice? What you do is so different. I'm curious what your origin story is. How did you get started with cymbals?
Uh, I started finger cymbals when I started dancing ATS because only ATS dancers playing that in China at that time. And I think we are very old ATS dancers. We are first generations ATS dancer in China. And before that, I think some Oriental dancers, but at that time we have some training school. They don't teach. They never teach finger cymbals at all. I remember the first time I see these things. It's a belly dance teacher. She just it's like one whole sagat, and he showed us and playing just some rings. I was interesting, but after that I forgot that because at that time the training method is also very weird. We learn for 45 days and 45 choreography, different style, and we graduated from that school, and we can start teaching.
Did you say you
That's
learned 45 choreographies in 45
yeah,
days?
yeah.
What?
And it's weird, right? But that is very, I think that kind of teaching or training method is developed by some businessmen because they can make people quickly graduated from this school and start teaching. And but after that time, some professional school begin to teaching in other ways, and but still, few people teaching finger cymbals until we have the first ATS teacher in China.
Oh, and so now with these 45 choreographies in 45 days, how many of them had finger symbols?
No,
Zero.
no.
Okay. Gotcha. I see what you're saying. So it was ATS that brought the finger symbols in, and so that was where you started playing them. And the ATS finger symbol vocabulary is fairly limited, right? You started out with like the gallops, maybe military pattern, right? Is that ATS mainly focuses on like a handful of patterns? Is that correct?
Yes, and
Okay.
I bought a very expensive finger cymbal at that time. I think it's a waste. I think finger cymbal is very beautiful. The Saroyan, I bought many. I collect many, and I think it's really a waste. I think in China it's like many people will tell you don't learn tribal style. It's very hard. It's not for everyone. Only special, only people with special gift can learn this style. Same thing in the for zills or finger cymbals. They will tell you if you have a special gift, you can try with zills. But sometimes if someone I mean after ATS dance this starts in China, after that the finger cymbals we some people can play that very good, but still is some simple patterns. But even that, because we never seen that, and they play with some drummers, we think it's so cool. Um, yeah, but I think they don't teach because before I learn finger cymbals, I learned some other instrument and in very classical ways. Very very hard training and from the very beginning, one step by one step. So I'm very used to that kind of training. So, but ATS dancers is like you start with 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1. They don't teach any basics. They just jump into this. So that is why people think that is hard. It's like because you never train very basic things and you jumped into the patterns directly. In my opinion, it's like that.
That
Although, yeah,
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense, Miriam. I think about, I've never studied, ATS formally, though I do have like an improvisational troupe that I work with here in Houston. But you're right. If you take someone and they're learning to dance, right? So they're learning the combinations, which are challenging enough themselves. And you're like, and now play this on these cymbals I've handed to you, right? People are going to find it very challenging. But I find it very interesting that the word on the street was, you need to have a special gift to be able to do this.
yeah,
If you do not have that special gift, don't even try, right? And I feel like what it is it's it's challenging, right? Like the special
yeah,
gift, you need to be patient and be willing to like practice a lot to be able to put it together. I have always called improvisational tribal style ATS. I've always called that the thinking woman's belly dance, because you can't just get up there and do the choreography or get up there and improvise. You have to be like dancing and counting and watching the leader and figuring out the formation all at the same time. And I love it. I love like the cerebral aspect of it, that you're constantly processing what's happening as you're doing it. I could see that it's not for everybody, but I'm going to contend, I'm going to put out on the table right here. I personally believe you do not have to have a special gift. You have to have a good teacher
yeah,
and a willingness to practice and explore, right? And so now this is interesting to me to know that this was your origin with the finger cymbals, was, your gallop with your tribal style, with your ATS dance. which has nothing to do with what you do with your finger cymbals today. In my opinion, watching you over the interwebs, right? When I watch your videos, I would never say, oh, yes, I can see her ATS lineage happening here in these. I know, like, where did this development of the style, and then perhaps maybe, especially if people haven't seen you yet, and I will definitely give people links so they can follow you on social media and watch your incredible videos. Could you explain in words your style? Because I don't know if I could explain in words your style. Could you try to explain it? And then how did you arrive there? How did you create this?
So as I said, it's a waste. I have so many finger cymbals, and I can only play gallop or military.
Uh-huh.
So, but luckily I don't do ATS. ATS is not my only option. At the same time, I do flamenco and other instrument like castanet, and in China we have something I don't know its English name, but it's like clappers. And also I think rhythm is whatever the instrument you play, it has something in common. So I try to try with different music. I think just it's just like a relationship. You like the finger cymbals is a woman and the music is a man. Or if you yeah, you have to keep your own personality, and you have reaction to. Also, you have to respect the other one. So you learn from the other one, and you have to be allowed. You have to allow yourself to be reformed by the other, but you cannot lost your personality. So how I collect my vocabulary, I learn from different style music. Like in flamenco, they have different patterns, compass, and I learn that. Also, I have some technique like the roll. Um, I learned from castanet, and just like dancing, I do different dance forms. I think the belly dance is a kind of thinking. In thinking, you when you are dancing belly dance, you're thinking in belly dance, and the belly dance music and the vocabulary and the manner of moving your body is like a one language, and the other dance form is another language. But if you limit yourself in this language, you actually you don't understand this language very well. It's like when if you want to understand what is black, you have to know what is white. You learn from the opposite side. I think it's very Chinese style of understanding things. You learn from the opposite side. Like if I pick up a sound and I will, if there's some sound I cannot express it with the technique I have now, I will search from the other dance form. But my final goal is express this music well.
I love you have dropped some gems in this conversation. I'm literally taking notes because I love this concept that you talked about, and I because I'm hoping to inspire other people to create a Zill style that is theirs, right? And I feel like if people could come to this art form of the finger cymbals with a mind of creating their own special, unique stylization, as opposed to thinking that there are some rules and regulations and some patterns they need to learn,
Yeah,
have to do the rhythms correctly, which is where a lot of people are. So they're scared. It seems like there's a right and a wrong. If we can encourage people to do this exploration, right? And so I love the things that you're talking about always keeping your personality in the finger cymbals. And I can hear people already being like, what do you mean personality with the finger cymbals? And I say,
yeah,
go watch Miriam's videos and you'll know exactly what I mean when we say personality with the finger cymbals, because it is an instrument and it is like any other art, like any other musical instrument or art like dance. no matter whether who's doing the figure eight, they're going to put their own personality on that figure eight. The way they're playing the cymbals, even if it is something simple in its ability, you're going to put your personality
Yes.
into that if you've had the opportunity to explore that.
When I learned some Middle East patterns, but for me now, I think that is kind of correct music or correct dance. You dance is you are doing something right, and you follow the music. You doing the same accent or same timing, the right timing. That is right. But there is another kind of dance or music. I call it flowing music and flowing dancing. I mean, the energy is flowing. You are imagining something. I can see your imagination is flowing, and I can see your feelings is flowing in when you are dancing or playing. Although flow that is a very different thing, correct, and the flowing. When I was young, I was playing accordion. My first teacher taught me how to play the right music, and I think it's not that teacher is kind of that teacher for beginners. She can taught everything very right, but I feel bored although the training is right, until I see another teacher from Japan, that teacher is playing. When I saw that, I think when she was playing the same song, a very simple song, I think I see stars and rivers and snow as in his music. Compared with my second teacher, my first teacher, when she was playing, I think she's like chopping some vegetable and cooking. I think it's kind of different is different side. I cannot say it's opposite side, but it's kind of like that.
A different.
Like when I was playing finger cymbals, um, I the I cannot say it's the opposite side, but I saw different angles. You can learn from different angles. I think many people learn those they limited into Arabic countries or some different some cultures are related in that area. But you need to understand other music, other kind of music, and yeah, that's what I mean by different.
It's almost like you go in when you talk about the right music or the right moves or the right patterns. They're the ones that are prescribed, right? Like there are the basics that everyone starts with, right? Your belly
Yes,
dance 101, flamenco 101, finger cymbals 101. Here's your basic. This is what you start with. It might not be the most exciting thing, maybe, right? But this is maybe your foundation in a way. And so I hear
yes, yeah,
two ideas,
yeah,
like you have to get the foundation right. That foundation is important, and maybe you'll find a teacher who's like, no, you have to do it just like this and make the foundation very square and make sure it's all there. But then once you have that, you can really explore, right? You have that foundation, you get it in there, you make sure the movements are clear, your rhythms are clear, your pattern is clear, and then it's important to move beyond that, to not stay there, because that's where it gets a little stagnant, and that's where you start to get to pull from other cultures, from other dances, from other music styles to create something more personal. Yeah.
yeah. That's what I mean. You have to have the basic at the first place. But I think when you are training your basics, you can still watching others play. That's although that is flow. You don't have to rush to that part, but I think that kind of motive.
Yeah, so even within that, it's creating that texture, creating the personality. And so like you were saying, yes, you've got to go through and you've got to learn those basics, but don't bury your head in it. keep looking
Yeah.
where you
That's
might
what
be
I mean.
going, right?
Yeah,
Because that gives you what I like to call it your why. This is like the word that's used so often now is like your why. Like, why am I drilling this gallop at 120 beats per minute to the metronome? Why am I doing this? Because I want to do that. I want to be
yeah,
able to take it here, and I know that this drill is going to eventually get me there because it's a part of my practice and it's a part of growing my foundation and making me a strong finger cymbal player. Yeah.
yeah. That's what I mean. Also,
Ah,
I found that my students is like because I ask my students play practice a lot of the basics, the run and some simple and listen and memorize the some like this practice a lot. And if I stop doing creating my choreographies or I playing some exciting songs, sometimes they can become very lazy and they stopped doing that for a while. But if I doing some like something very excited but very hard, even they cannot do that as right now, but they it's like they got excited and play and start practicing again.
because they see you do it and they're like, oh, I want to do that. Yeah.
Yeah,
That is so good. So I'm curious. I love that you teach finger cymbals, and you had mentioned previously that you teach online because in the area where you are in China, like nobody is playing finger cymbals, which if anyone can change that, Miriam, you can change this. I believe it. And so you're teaching
thank you.
through this online. What is your method of teaching? Especially, I'm sure you have lots of different ways you teach them, but especially particularly because I love you that you've created such an unique stylization. How do you teach them in a way that continues to encourage them to explore their own personal style?
I think it's just like I am a people who is going somewhere. I'm working forward, and you have to keep them going with you, but you cannot walking too fast. So I start very basic because I think we have different learners. Some people learn with their eyes, some people learn with their ears, and some people learn with movement. I think most of dancers learn by movement. So I try to train them with these three different methods. Whatever the learn style they learn, you have to develop you something you are not very good at. And I start with movement because when I was playing the other instrument, our teacher always says that when you are playing, you should sit like this and your gestures should like this. But I think that that is very helpful. Although I took a lot of time for that. Besides, I am a dancer myself. I think my different movement inspired my sound very much. I think my idea of teaching is very classical because in modern education, they focus on how you use it. But in classical education, you focus on how this knowledge can change the whole thing, your personality and your sense. So my focus when I was teaching is I focus on the sense of time, the time space quality. This is how you watch things. So after you playing you learn this. You watch everything more detail.
I love this. So it sounds like it's a very holistic learning process. It's not just we are going to play this pattern on our cymbals. It's like a way of looking at the world, right? You're
Yes,
looking at the
yeah,
hands, you're looking at the space, you're listening to the sound, and that's something that's going to travel with you and be part of who you are in all aspects of your life, not just when you're playing finger cymbals.
yeah. So I think through finger symbols you can go to a word so big.
Mm-hmm.
I think in especially in English, education means enlighten. means waking up some sense. So this is my main idea about teaching. But I think if you are a teacher, you focus on the students very much, and you're watching them, and you got a lot. You will gain a lot of things from this. It's not you give her things, or you are building up each other.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I love how you said that. And I think any really good teacher sees it as a two-way communication, right? We have information we're sharing with our students, but watching them and getting that feedback, whether they verbally tell us what they're having issue with, or you're watching them and seeing where the problems lie, that's where we learn from them and we become better teachers, which helps them. And so it's a beautiful synchronous system. And so that I love that that's part of your teaching philosophy, and that's something that you're helping your students with. And so what I would love to be able to do with this, as I mentioned before, like encouraging people to find, to find their own style, which sometimes is finding the right teacher, right? There's lots of different teachers out there. They all have their own unique way of teaching. And I feel like there's someone for everyone, right? I think part of learning finger cymbals, and I know I've had students come to me to learn who really had like a bad first experience, be it the situation, the instructor, who knows what, right? They had a bad first experience. They shied away from the Zills. They said, they're not for me. And I said, let's try this again. Let's see what happens, right?
Yeah, I
And so
understand.
yeah, and then they find, maybe I'm the person for them, maybe you're the person for them that has that sort of kinship, that connection that allows you to learn better because you have personalities that mesh well, or styles that speak to their way of learning. And so for people who are, maybe a little Zill shy, let's say, and maybe they've even learned the right patterns, and maybe they've learned the right rhythms, and they're like you were saying, well, is it kind of boring? Like, is this all there is? Like, if you had to give them a word of advice to encourage them to explore more, what would you say to them?
Actually, I will say very. I will watch them very carefully. I think even they play very terrible, they still have something worth compliment. Just like my some beginners, I think sometimes I can say they are very struggling, but they trying to do something. The trying is so good. I think so I will tell them, I see you are trying to do something. Although you cannot do it now, but I see you are trying. That's very good. Or you are not on the right timing, but your hand is very beautiful. I think but because I am the same people, when I watch myself dancing, I say, oh, this is not good. I judge myself. But so I know the beginner, especially for the beginners, they judge themselves. So the teacher have to be that person to tell them you have some good things, and what is that.
I love that. Absolutely. There's always something good. And I like what you said, like the whole process, the fact that they're trying, that's the whole point. I always like to say the journey is the destination, right? There's not an end to our practice. It's always the trying and the learning. That's where the growth and the excitement is. And so I love that concept so much. I have a few quick, I call them lightning round questions. It doesn't mean you have to answer very fast, but they're short,
Yeah.
quick questions. And then I'm going to ask you to let people know where they can find you. So, okay, question number one, how many pairs of finger cymbals do you own?
7 or 8.
Okay. Okay. Which are your favorite pair to play right now?
My own, I designed one those. Yeah,
What?
that was very much my style.
Oh, tell me about these zills that you designed. How did you do that? Tell me about them. I want to know.
Yeah, because when we are creating the music, we actually, when we are creating the tension, the lowest and the highest tone, they have a tension. So I think for some music, the regular Zeus is kind of too high. So I need some dark. So also my style is like kind of creepy and dark.
Mhm.
So I need to turn the high tone a little lower. So this is the first reason. And the second is the painting on the Zeus. I asked my student, one of my painting friends, I have some evil eye on that. So that is my favorite because I was my dance style is inspired a lot by Japanese artist. Her name is Ayasato. She is my favorite teacher and artist. So I have that eye on that. Also, I think the music is the eye you hear inside in your inner sense. It's kind of the music is like an eye. You see it. It's
Wow.
also my concept. Also, I carved some stop pose in music that kind of because I think silence and pause and stop stillness is more important than sound. So I paint that on the views.
Oh my
This
gosh,
is
that's
also
so cool.
totally my style.
I love it, Miriam. That is so awesome. Oh my gosh. Okay, so if people want to know more about you, or maybe if they want to take finger symbol classes with you, where can they find you?
Uh, I post finger symbol videos mainly on Facebook. And I use Instagram too, but on Insta I'm different. Mainly about my creepy videos, creepy short videos, and my dance, not belly dance. But if you're interested, you can see you can watch them too.
Okay, so I'll definitely include links to your Facebook for the Zill stuff and your Instagram for the creepy other dance stuff in case people want
Thank you.
connect with you there, see what you're all about, and then of course if you love her style and want to know more, they can join hopefully your online finger symbol class. This has been so much fun to get to know you a little bit more, to see the woman behind the incredible videos that I have been watching for a couple of years now. And so this has been really fun. Thank you so much for sharing your journey, your thought process, your teaching process, your creation process. I think it's very powerful for other, budding Zillers or, proficient Zillers to see that there is so much personal depth that can be encountered in these instruments. So I think it will inspire a lot of people to take their finger cymbals to a new and exciting place. So thank you for sharing that.
I appreciate it too. Thank you so much.
So, what did you think? Oh my goodness, that interview was really eye-opening for me as someone who's been playing finger cymbals now for 22 years and I've definitely developed my own style. I can see how I can really benefit from a lot of her ideas as for exploring personality, and especially this idea of learning the right thing and then moving on and pulling from all of your influences, right? It's so important to understand the foundations of the style that you're doing, the dance or the finger cymbal work. But I think it's very liberating and very important for us as artists to know that there's more than just that, to allow ourselves to traverse beyond the limits of what we impose as like a cultural or perhaps a technique correct and incorrect. And there's opportunities for us to build something that is more personal and more inspired for us. So if you found yourself feeling a little in your finger symbol practice recently, I invite you to take these ideas that Miriam has shared, to know that there's always something good in all the work that you're doing and all of the trying that is happening, right? The journey is the destination. And I invite you to bring in more elements into that journey, to explore, to create, and to think about your finger symbols as a method for self-expression as opposed to a percussive idea that has to be done in a particular way. And so that if you'd like to follow Miriam more online, you can check out the links here and check her out more, see some of her work, and hopefully take some classes with her. Thank you so much for joining me for this special Zill Hero interview, and I look forward to making music with you soon.